Lol. Okay. Sure. I mean, sure. I might be able to camp Saradomin with the best gear in the game and like 4 bill GP, and I can afford everything. But the person that's gonna go to Saradomin, Bandos, or Armadale is not gonna have that bank. So before they could go in there and they could camp Armadale for hours on end, and now they can't due to the fact that the changes are going on and the buffs that are happening to the bosses. However, the higher level bosses are receiving extreme dumb downs, like Virago is a lot easier and Rots is a lot easier. Just due to
Exactly.
the
Well, look, in any case, I think, we should wrap that up for the thoughts of the legacy overall. And I think we both can agree on that, it was kind of a rushed thing to get these old school PKs back. Don't get me wrong, they've had time to work on it, but still, it needed more time in my view, because they're focusing more on making the game nostalgic for old players, rather than focusing on their current players. But in any case, I think that's enough on that. I think right now what we need to really, what I really wanted to show you guys as well, is Eoc versus Legacy in terms of damage wise. Now, this is a bit, in my view, ridiculous. Don't get me wrong, I personally still think EOC is still superior, especially when it comes to PVM. I've tested them both out, and I've got to say, I'm not happy with the fact that me and Piero tested this about 10 minutes ago, and the Royal Crossbow and even the C Maul, the Chaotic Maul, hits a maximum of 650 damage. That's 6.5k. That is basically a threshold, if not an ultimate damage. That is the only thing I can really think that can really out DPS that would be either assault, destroy. No, assault, destroy, and
assault.
yeah, and asphyxiate. You know, I think the
Yeah.
damage number is way higher than it should be. Yeah, I'm sorry, that is fact. Because think about it this way: I hit you what 500. I switched to some random spec weapon. You're not going to be able to really out eat that. You won't. What do you think?
It's gonna be the if me and you are both starting out and I'm gonna hit you and you're gonna hit me, this has nothing to do with skill or anything along that line. You can hit me for 500, pull out your AGS, expect me, and there's nothing I can do about it.
All right, tell you what, go and get your food. Go get some food, and let's just test this in like just like if you were just standing there AFK, what actually could be done. If you've seen me, I'm hitting you with all I've got. We're gonna show you exactly what we're talking about. But don't get me wrong, sometimes the damage is lackluster. Obviously, it's still an 80 weapon, and it's still got very low accuracy as it is. But the damage is what is the problem, in my view. The damage is way too ridiculous. Okay, so accept. Alright, I'm gonna use overloads.
I'm not.
I'm gonna use overloads, and I'm currently using void. I'm using rigor, and look, even a hand cannon. Jesus, Jesus. Let me see again.
That
Jesus.
is stupid.
I'm gonna spec you.
This is a hand cannon, and by the
Look,
way, I'm
wow.
not using anything besides.
Should I
This
just
is
hit
a
you there?
hand cannon.
You're gonna kill
I'm
me, I
gonna
think.
win.
No, I won.
I was using bot gear that time. I was
Yeah,
using
yeah, I know,
royal
I know, I
top,
know, I
royal
know.
legs,
But it didn't.
and
It doesn't, alter the fact that you know, wow, you know, even with that dark bow spec I did on you, that was still quite a lot of damage. How much did that dark spec hit you? Like 400? And
and it also has to come from.
yeah, I'm bad at switching as well, especially in in Legacy. I'm not used to it yet. Let's try again.
This also has to do with quick.
Huh?
What I'm. I just want to see something.
Okay. What are you gonna do? Spec?
All right,
400.
that's a 400 without
400.
prayer or anything like.
Jesus.
This is
Yo.
actual gear that you're actually gonna use.
482. Food if you have it. You're gonna kill me, I think.
These are auto attacks, by the way. These are.
Jeez, I'm down for the count.
I mean, listen.
That's
That's the best gear in the game. He's using Void, Royal Crossbow,
yep,
and
and
shit like
comp
that.
cape, and
I was using Royal Helmet. I mean, no, I was using a Dragon Helmet, Royal D-High top, Royal D-High chaps, and a cannonball.
But
And a
wait,
cannon.
but wait, I know
That's
what
it.
everyone is thinking. Oh, Void, it's not very high in defensive values. So do you know what? Okay then, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull out my Death Lotus. This is gonna be max defensive gear that I can possibly pull. And Piero, use a Royal Crossbow.
All right.
We're gonna test it. Yeah, I'm gonna have slightly higher armor than he has, and I guarantee you, it's not gonna make that much difference. It is not gonna make that much difference. Do you Okay.
Okay.
None of us are gonna use food, but here we go.
I'm nice. Oh, you're using overload.
Here we go. Here we go. That look 500. You didn't hit me.
That's stupid. That's that's what I mean. Like, no, listen.
Yeah, you need to upgrade that gear.
If I'm if I'm using this in EOC and he's using that in Legacy, he's gonna kill me. But I guarantee you, if he was using Ascensions, there would be no issue. There are problems with tier 90s being just not enough damage, even though they're extremely fast to use.
Yeah. Not to mention the fact, remember this people, when it comes to Legacy, especially PKing wise, you can't even store your adrenaline in the wilderness. It starts from the bottom if you attack a new player, and you need to build up your adrenaline to get those good attacks in. This is constant damage, people. This is, I can potentially two hit you if I wanted to. I could do one decent 500 or 600 with Royal Crossbow or Chaotic Maul or whatever 80 tier or 80 tier weapon, and pull out any random spec weapons, you know, D-Claws, Dark Bow, anything, and kill you so fast. I don't know why on earth they did not realize this. It is the impact, especially on damage, is critical in this factor. It's too critical.
I'm gonna try EOC this time.
No, I am shredding him.
I'm using EOC right now. Okay.
You're using EOC, right? There's a stuns.
Right now there's nothing to deal with stunts at the moment. Okay. But wait.
Stun again. That was a binding shot.
All right.
Well, so far the
stuns.
Wow. There. Did you see that? That's terrible. Hey Piero, do me a favor. Switch to Death Lotus if you have it.
Yeah, I have Death Lotus. Are you?
Switch to Death Lotus if
Actually,
you have
let me. Yeah. Actually, let me try Ceramic. Ceramic.
This is too critical. This is not good. I don't know why on earth they thought this would be a good idea. Right now he's going to use Serenic, okay? So basically, aside from the weapon wise, his armor is more or less same as mine, if not slightly better in terms of DPS.
Yeah.
Look, I've already killed half of his health. Look, nah, it's not happening. The only thing he really has against me is stuns. Stuns, there's nothing really. Look, I've killed.
This is stupid. Like
yeah.
if I don't use a stun, I'm not gonna win it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I don't use a stun, I'm gonna lose the fight. I'm just gonna take too much damage because he's immediately gonna get to thresholds before I'm able to use any actual abilities or threshold threshold strong. Now, if he's able to hit me twice or 3 times, I'm out. Done. Like, there's just not. I mean, it's gotten to the point where with gear 80 weapons, it's like hugely overpowered compared to anything else.
Yeah, and that is not
You know,
even, again, that's not considering the fact I could pull out a spec weapon. I could just spec anytime I wanted. You know, the only thing I'd say range really has, or you know, I mean EOC really has, is those stuns. And I tell you something, some noob on the forums are going to complain, what do we do about stuns? And they're going to do something about that too, because they're just trying too hard to make the game too nostalgic for these players that want this legacy, more or less legacy scape. But anyway, look, that's enough about that. I think another issue I really wanted to talk about was the impact on armor in this game. This tier 80 and tier 90 armor is pointless to use. Pointless to use.
when it comes to any bossing or any type of thing, apart from very, very heavy tank rolls, you're gonna want to use you're gonna want to use what the fuck? Look, I'm using Serenic.
Yeah, don't
I'm
get me
using
wrong. Look, I'm splashing. But then again, if I hit you once more, you're gonna die.
Yep.
Yep. That's Serenic. That's, look, I didn't even use Overload that time, but that's Serenic and Ascension crossbows versus Death Lotus and a friggin' chaotic crossbow. I mean, not chaotic, royal.
Royal.
Yeah, and a royal crossbow. Come on, why? Come on, was this shit not tested at all?
This wasn't tested.
And
This can't be tested. Like, there's no way. There's nobody says, "Oh, these tiny tier 90 weapons are gonna hit." This is a lot less than tier 80.
And this is the reason people are no longer using this. People are no longer going to use tier 90 because of this. Armor doesn't seem to do much here. Look, I'm using level 80 crossbow, and I'm shredding his armor like it's nothing.
I'm using Serenic and Ascensions at the moment.
Look, he's hitting me a lot better now. No, but there, look, I've basically 2 or 3 hit him. That's ridiculous.
You can't. I'm not gonna win. I'm never gonna win with a gear that's 500 mil worth more than yours.
And I'm sorry. Defend it if you want or not. Tier 90 armor is pointless to use because A, it takes quite a long time to get, especially Serenic. Tectonic is quite, you know, you got to do Virago, you get these energies, and then you got Rise of the Six. You know, for me, Rise of the Six is quite simple, but it still takes time to get. It takes time and they cost a lot of money. How much are like the 90 tier armors? Around about 20-30 mil?
Yeah, well,
20, yeah. So 20-30 mil for slightly better armor, which really doesn't matter, as I've just proven to you, and you know, it degrades the dust. There's possibilities of grave glitches. I mean, you know, what else can I really say about that? That is a very, very bad. The update for this, I can't even like perform coherent thoughts here, because like the update for this has just seriously completely destroyed 90 tier armor. Completely destroyed it.
And it's also, since armor, when it comes to PVMing, when it comes to bossing, which is what I have the most experience on, for example, rots. Right now, if you're going to go in rots, you don't use anything else besides Void. There's no other reason. Void's going to give you the highest amount of DPS.
Yep.
Armor is not very important. And what power armor doesn't give you any HP. So, I mean, there's no actual need for it anymore.
None whatsoever.
Before Void used to give you 6.8 to 6.9k both 6.8 to 6.9k HP. So that's 68 that you used to have as HP. Now you have a flat 1k HP. Like you've received an extra 3k due to this update, and then all food has been buffed. All food around all tables. There's everything heals you more than it did before. Right now, like a couple of days ago, Rocktail used to hit a heal 1860.
1860 or 1910 with the Spices Amulet.
And now it heals what? 2300? Like,
Yeah,
it's just
2.3k, 350 with Spices Amulet. That is ridiculous. That's basically, well, three Rock Tails, 4 HP. I think the Constitution update needs to be personally removed. I think Armour again should have that life bonus, because anyone in the game now can just basically run around with 10k HP and not really need to wear these armors that cost so much, because at the end of the day they don't provide as much as Void does. Don't get me wrong, it gives 5% extra damage, but in a game where you're hitting basically 5 and 6Ks constantly, especially in Legacy, who really needs that extra 5% damage for so much more money? With the fear of grave glitches, with the fear of losing so much money on it,
for sure.
it's not good enough. It's basically more or less Void or nothing else. Void or armorless. That's Well, in any case,
I
look.
mean,
Yeah, the other thing we have to talk about. Welcome to Voidscape, people, because that's basically what this is now. This is Voidscape. If you don't have Void, I suggest you get it right now, because at the moment it doesn't provide the best armor bonus, but it's got the best DPS bonus possible in the entire game. This Void
and
this Void gives you 10% accuracy, 5% strength, and it doesn't degrade. You can't lose it. You can't lose it unless you're PKing. What do you think, Piero?
um, yeah, I think most people have caught on to this. If you go to World 53, actually, which will go right now, World 53 pest control right now,
Mm,
it's flooded. Most people know, hey, I gotta get Void and I gotta upgrade it and get that because that's the best gear in the game right now.
mm. And with these updates, you've destroyed. I'm sorry, you've destroyed higher level bossing, because people are not going to want to do rots. They're not going to want to do Virago. They're not going to even really want to do. They might even want to do Ascension Dungeon just for the signets, but it's pointless to farm these things now. The crash on Malevolent Energy yesterday was redonkulous in my view. Yeah,
Nah, that's
redonkulous.
crazy.
Yeah, it went from like 380k. That update hit, bang, went straight down to 100k, because people had already realized this during the beta. And why Jagex had not heard our. Did we not scream? Did we not cry loud enough? Don't do this, because this is going to happen. And now it's happened. People have already asking on the forums, revoke this, take it back. Yeah, if you don't have Void, go and get it. Go and get it, because it's you can't get any better than Void. It's sad to say,
I
but
think
you
the
can't get any better.
problem is the problem is right now is that the art all right the art used to be armor system. It wasn't perfect, but it made some level of sense.
Mm,
This one doesn't. I mean, this one, all right, I understand if you're trying to say, okay, tier 90 armor doesn't have any HP bonuses.
mm,
Specifically tier 90, which is where you get a lot of money comes from like high level PVMers such as
mm-hmm,
Rots where malevolent energies come in, or Tectonic where Tectonic armor comes in. And it's just like, why am I going to use this armor for a little bit more armor when it's going to degrade to dust, when I can get non-degradable gear that hits higher?
mm,
All right, you're right. It doesn't, all right, right now the digits on power armor is 10% boost for top, helmet, and legs. But you get 10% for auto attacks for void, you get 10% for accuracy, and you get 5% for damage.
mm.
Overall, in a long stretch, if you break down the math and if you test it out by yourself, void's going to do more damage. And
Yeah.
since HP and armor isn't going to be a very important thing because you're already starting out with so much HP to begin with, all the tier 90 gears are gonna crash, and due to the fact that the all bosses were, or like at least Virago and Rots were around like fucking armor and all those type of things, it's just gonna it's just gonna crash. And I
Yeah.
mean, that's where everything comes out.
And this is the type of things we really need to address to Jagex here, because don't get me wrong, I respect Jagex, I respect everything they do. I've enjoyed their game for so long, but I'm sorry, if you're gonna bring out something like this on this scale, don't don't f it up by introducing something that's gonna globally impact it. And I'm sorry, they know this. They knew this was gonna happen. Yeah. At the moment, I can safely say there is no point to having any tier 80 or tier 90 equipment, because people are not going to want to pay out the arse 20, 30 mil, probably more, for this. And because of this, you've basically said, okay, then this is how we want it. Fuck you. You know, people are gonna start. Well, they're gonna stop. They're gonna stop busting altogether. They're gonna stop busting altogether because there's gonna be no point unless you like, getting lanternine seeds or or magic logs. They're not gonna want to get these super rare drops that are supposed to, have you feel like an achievement, a sense of, I've got this, and then you've got this really unique item, and you feel like you've been robbed because of one kind of selfish update that appeals to the void PKers back in '07. I don't think that's fair at all, and that needs to change. Don't you agree?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just gonna be it's just a stretch, man. It's just hopefully Jagex does something about armor descriptions and just armor as it stands right now. Because right now, the first thing that the JMod should be working on is figuring out what they're gonna do with the armor system. Figuring out, hey, if, what can we do about armor overall? Because this legacy thing just impacted PVMing hugely.
Mm.
It just like all right, right now,
This is
Rod's
Voidscape. This is what it is, bro. You might as well say it. This is Voidscape. Even when it comes to PKing, at least during old PKing, you may have a chance for bandos. Maybe some armadillo if you were lucky. Not now, because everyone's going to use Void. Everyone is going to use Void because even though it takes a hell of a lot longer to get, it's completely free. All you need to do is put some time into it, and you've got the best DPS gear in the game. And when it comes to PKing, there's just going to be, I guarantee you this, people, Void rushes in dark bows or AGSs. It's going to happen. Instant barrage or whatever, rush. That's all it's going to be, and you're going to get absolutely nothing from PKing because of this, because they're going to be able to more or less one item, AGS or Dark Bow. There's no point in having or wearing any gears other than Void, especially during PKing. So whoever said, oh yay, PKing is back, just think about that for a second. Who the hell is going to bring Torvar to the wilderness? Who the hell is going to bring even Bandos, Armadillo, or Subjugation to the wilderness? The answer is nobody, because nobody in their right mind is going to want to do that.
I mean, the most people would rush or risk would be like fucking Rune or even Barrows, since
Mm.
Barrows has been so cheap lately, and Barrows is a few hundred K per legs and top. I'd rather use that than use freaking subjugation, which I'm good like 7, 8 mil. Like it's just not worth. There's
Mm.
no implementation. Listen, there's no implementation to bring high level weapons into the
Yeah,
PvP type of arena.
yeah.
You're not actually gonna make any actual money out of it just due to the fact that you're gonna be you're I mean, we've already tested it.
Mm.
Royal Crossbow hits higher than Ascensions.
Mm-hmm.
Seismics don't hit nearly as high as a Chaotic Staff. And Chaotic Maul hits higher than Drygores.
Mm.
There's no reason to bring tier 90 weapons apart
Yeah.
from showing up.
You can actually come to the wilderness in Void, and maul and lose practically nothing. You risk absolutely nothing. If you don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm 100% right on this. You may get lucky. You may be able to smite someone for his AGS, but let's be serious here. How often is that gonna actually happen in actual combat situation? Yeah, who who in the right mind really is gonna say, okay, I'm not gonna protect my armored or godsword, which is basically all he's really risking, you know. So I just want you guys to think about that before you say, this has been such a great update. The update overall has really not, I wouldn't say destroyed the game, but seriously affected not only its current players but the new ones, because they didn't expect this shit. They did not, and honestly, they deserve more. They deserve an update really where it's been well thought out for one, well tested, and for fuck's sake, listen to the players. That's all we're saying here. But anyway, I think because of all this, we need some solutions. What solutions do you think would easily just, I'm not saying revert everything back. There has to be, some kind of, you know
Well,
boundary, or common ground. How do you think, or what do you think would really,
all right.
you know
All right, well, tier 90. All right, well, there needs to be a change in armor settings and armor descriptions and just a rework on armor right now. Tier 90, tier 90 gear should be given a buff. When it comes to bossing in general, um, the implementations that this update has had on bosses like Virago and Rot are incredible, dude. QBD, if you go to QBD right now, you make more money than you would do if you get a sub two if you're getting sub 2 minute kills at Rots.
I know, believe me, I've tried that. I did two QBD kills earlier. I got a raw frame and I got a raw a spring. I sold the spring and frame for both 300k each, and the rest of the loot. It came up to round about 1 point something mil. This was about like 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes work.
I mean, right now, right now, doing any high level PVMing such as Virago and Rots, you're gonna be making a lot less money than you would at QBD, which is insane. And it wasn't like this before at any when it came to these bosses. And a lot of people trained their stats and got a lot of levels for this, worked really hard because in order to be able to do rot efficiently, it used to take months.
Well
It used to
then,
take months, but now it's not worth it.
personally, a good solution in my view, for one, I wouldn't say revert the armor back all the way, but it's got to be at least on par with Void. It has to be, because it's supposed to be the best equipment for PVMing. I don't know about PKing, but it's supposed to be best in game. So I'd say either give it the same accuracy bonus as Void, or it's got to have something else, maybe slightly extra damage, or fix armor points. Armor has to mean something. If I'm gonna have like 4 or 5 thousand armor, I shouldn't be getting shredded. I like If you did watch earlier on in the video, I shouldn't be hitting Serenic constant 3 and 400s. I shouldn't be able to do that because the armor bonus is way higher than than what I'm wearing, as far as I'm concerned. You know, another
Well,
thing, I'm sorry, it has to be said. I think the level 80 weapons are way too overpowered, way overpowered than they should be, way overpowered than they should be. Absolutely, way too overpowered. Because okay, fair enough. If like fair enough, the bad speed, it's quite a low chance for a high hit, but it doesn't, or the fact that you can hit that without much being risked, and boom, that's it, easy kill,
oh,
easy kills.
by the way, if you're going by numbers or anything like that, if it's me against you, you're using Void, I'm using Power Gear. I have 3 times as much armor as you.
There you go.
I have 3 times as much armor than you because superior late robe legs are 216, superior top is 226, and superior top or
Mm.
helmet would be 180. You have literally all your armor combined is the same as my helmet.
And I can literally out DPS you in, you know, 80 tier.
You will kill me. You will
Yeah,
kill me every time. Like,
yeah.
this is like you can try it
But
again.
but
You
don't
will
get me
kill
wrong.
me
Listen, but
every
don't
time.
wait. But listen, don't get me wrong, people. We're not saying this is the situation that can happen every single time, but more times than one, it is going to happen. And eventually people are going to start crying about this. So first of all, change 90 tail armors. That needs to be done as soon as possible before it affects the economy too much. Before people are going to say we don't really care about this boss, we don't really care about these equipment. It doesn't matter. I've got Void, you know. I don't really agree with nerfing Void though, because Void has been the same for a while, but they've changed too much to scale with this legacy crap. I'm sorry, they have. They've changed. They've completely like rinsed over EOC and just written up shit for legacy. It's not on. It's not on. So change the 90T armor, and I say I'd slightly lower the potency of the tier 80 weapons, chaotic, royal. What else? I can't even think of. Yeah, and
Chaotic Maul, Royal Crossbow, Chaotic Staff, Armadillo Battle Staff.
mm, and
Uh,
and for Christ's sake, I'm sorry, it has to be said, ROTS is way too easy now. ROTS is way too easy in EOC. That needs to be back the way it was before this update. Yeah, because I shouldn't be getting sub 2 minute kills with people who don't even know how to run away from spinners. If you know anything about ROTS, I shouldn't just say it like you know what I'm talking about. But if you know anything about ROTS, sub 2 minute kills are with people that know the mechanics, know everything. You can get sub 2 minute kills with people using friggin' snipe. Snipe is powerful as hell. Yeah, so I'd say if they've changed any other bosses that way, revert them back. I heard Nex does like 8,000 damage, Ice Prisons. That's ridiculous. That needs to be off the table. And Siphons, blood phases are impossible to get past. I heard at the moment Nex is impossible to solo, so that needs to be changed as well. You know.
no, next is soloable. Next is soloable because Cyrus Living was doing some of them. They're a lot harder now to do, but when it comes to like, here's the thing: what happened? All the bosses besides Rods and Virago got huge buffs to try to balance all of these buffs that you got from all the armor and everything like that. While Virago and Rods didn't. So
Mm.
now they're extremely farmable. So all the prices of them crashed. And
Mm.
since nothing that you get off it is worth using anymore, it crashed even further.
Yeah, true. Well, anyway, look, to wrap up, I'd say, listen, EUC and Legacy, it needs balancing. It needs balancing as soon as possible because at the moment, EUC is slightly lacking. You've kind of taken away, you know, what made EOC with one update just because you wanted your old players back. Yeah, don't get me wrong.
But
I'm not saying it's a bad update, but you need to really think about all the players rather than just a certain portion of them. You
by the
know.
way, there was a couple of things I liked though. Like
Mm.
I like the fact that they changed the surge animation, and I like okay. First of all, the surge animation it doesn't never gets talked about, but it's a lot smoother. You're not having to surge in and then you're having to run back a couple steps back, and it
Yeah.
kind of like nullifies surge. So I mean,
I don't like the fact the camera like rolls around when you use Surge now. I don't like that. I,
yeah, that's true.
mm,
And but overall, it's smoother for at least me, like
yeah.
at least from what I've
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah, but overall, I say successful update on Legacy's behalf. Don't get me wrong. I personally will use Legacy for like slaying. I think Legacy is much more dominant against weaker monsters as opposed to stronger. Because I've actually tested Legacy on QBD. I've tested it on Rise of the Six, and the hits were quite bad. Hits were quite I'm not saying they were weak hits. I'm saying I hit zeros a hell of a lot, a hell of a lot. If you're gonna PVM using it, I'd say make sure you have a spec weapon handy because you're not gonna be able to keep up with EOC DPS. Absolutely not in PVM. In PKing, however, legacy all the way, legacy all the way. Anyway, look, I think we've spoken enough. Piero, thanks for your help. You know,
Thank you.
I hope we can do something like this again. They the next time they decide to make a poor piss update.
Unless they change the world, dominate the world.
Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you all later in the future.